On this episode of Exactly How, we're going to show you how to pick a winning real estate strategy, how to automate many of the steps to get a deal to the closing table, and how to delegate the things that you don't want to do on this episode of Exactly How.
You're listening to the Exactly How podcast, where you'll hear the underground, closely guarded wealth building secrets of successful people around the globe. Discover exactly how to improve your mental, physical, and financial health. Feel better, make more money, live, give, and prosper in today's exciting, fast-paced world filled with opportunity for those who know exactly how.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Connected Investors podcast, Exactly How. During this episode, you're going to discover exactly how to save time and grow as a real estate investor. For those of you who are new, my name is Ross Hamilton, today's host and CEO of ConnectedInvestors.com. Today we have the privilege to learn from a guy who's an expert in systems and processes that will help you manage your time, focus, and growth. Prior to his career as a real estate investor, he was in sales, and that all changed when he decided, you know what, I just have to go all into real estate and burn the boats behind me so I can't turn back and ever fall back into that trap again. I describe our guest as laser focused. His name is Robert, and today he is going to explain exactly how to save time and grow as a real estate investor. Robert, thank you so very much for jumping on the line with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Ross. It's a pleasure. I'm glad I could be on today.
Yeah, I've been really excited about this particular episode because we share a lot of common interests in technology and having systems and automation and, really protecting the most important asset that we have is our time.
Yes.
So, this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. Robert, before we dive into exactly how to save time and grow as a real estate investor, you contribute a lot of your success to your very, definite focus. Why do you think your focus has played such a huge role in your success?
I think that, there's great books about it too, right? The One Thing, anything to do with laser focus. It is just that when we are the most focused on one thing, to use the one thing specifically, we tend to accomplish that thing. Most of us in today's fast-paced, touch it on my phone and get information now are overloaded with information. And as a result, we lack the ability to make decisions because we don't know what's the right thing, right? So because of that, we tend to believe in I can multitask, I can do a bunch of stuff. And then a month from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, you wonder why you haven't gotten anywhere with the big idea that you had, right? And I just find anytime that I find myself not getting further ahead in even the course of a week or 2 weeks, I can always identify that there's some lack of focus or that I've been coming out of focus and allowing things to take me somewhere else. And anytime that I bring that back into, no, what's the one thing that I'm supposed to be focused on right now, and just do that and let the rest be in the future if it ever needs to be touched. That's it. Even I've gone to masterminds where you take a ton of notes, right? But I literally leave the mastermind saying, let me take all those notes and let me go find the 1 to 3 ideas that I can implement and then go throw the rest in a file folder that I might look at in the future.
Yeah.
They're great ideas, but they're too much today.
Yeah. When you have 100 things that are 90% done.
Yeah.
You're not getting anything over the finish line. That's what we're always in the 1%, that last, those last 5 yards are always the hardest. If you're a football fan, you're halfway down the field, you can make it 5 yards, but when you're right at the goal line, those are the ones you have to really push towards. So Focus just teaches you to get that ball over the goal line, get it done. I appreciate you sharing those insights there. We're going to jump into it in a second. I just want to make sure everyone understands what makes the Exactly How Financial Freedom podcast unique is every show comes with a detailed action plan. So if you're driving and you're going to want to take a lot of notes, Robert has some great free gifts he's going to give you as well. You don't have to worry about that. That can all be found at exactlyhow.com. All the notes and the free gifts from this show and all of our past shows and all of our future shows are found at exactlyhow.com. And just by visiting that site, you can throw your name in a hat to win access to our pre-MLS software. It's a $3,000 value that someone that visited exactlyhow.com is going to get for free. If you're watching this live, you can actually visit exactlyhow.com right now and throw your name in the hat, and maybe you'll be the lucky winner for this episode. We're going to announce it in just a few moments. So, Robert, what's really let's really jump in here. For those of you on the line that haven't really thought about saving time and systematizing things, can you just kind of break down high level for a real estate investor? What does it really mean to systems and save time to someone who's completely new?
Yeah, so you'll find, especially for the new person, right? This is the struggle I had until I burned my boats. And it was trying to work a job, one thing, right? And then trying to figure out all these pieces that go with real estate investing. So again, it comes into the shiny object. You're going to try and chase down every new tool or thing someone mentions. And the reality is all of it works. The challenge is you're trying to look at all of it and figure out what works. The best thing I can tell you to do is, regardless of what it is you choose one, go all in with it, because then you have the ability to systematize that process and you can focus. At the end of the day, as a real estate investor, the best thing you can understand is you can study all you want, you can look at and analyze all the tools you want, but if you're not making offers to sellers, there's no way you're ever going to do a deal.
Nothing else matters.
That's it. Nothing else matters. So you have to, at the simplest core, how do you do that? It could be as simple as hopping on the phone and calling for sale by owners. Not the best way or the most motivated, but it works. It's a numbers game, right? And you're making offers. Same thing like one of our free gifts you mentioned. We'll give you a tactic we use when we enter a market for calling for rents on Zillow and Craigslist and many other sites. Why? Because I know for certain they are landlords that own properties, which means they're either buying more, selling the ones they don't have, or at some point in the future, they're going to do one of the two. So I get both. One system, one process nails everything I need to get started.
Yeah, and you just systematize that one process before you move on to the next one.
Yes, 100%. Focus.
And what you're really doing there, people, is you're building a solid foundation. If you have all of these things kind of half going, all these plates spinning, the second you step away, it all falls, and you never reach that other side that you hear people talking about, to where they're living this great life, they're traveling around the world, the real estate business is on autopilot. It happens, but you have to have the systems in place to make that happen. So let's talk about the 3 steps really to getting these systems in place. How would you outline systematizing your real estate business?
Yeah, I would say number 1, it's organize. So taking all that clutter and organizing it into a definitive path that you're going to follow, right? To your point, like, it doesn't matter if it's direct mail, banner signs, cold calling, texting, they all work, right? Pick one, right? So organize that thought and how you're going to attack it. Be organized first, because if you're cluttered, it's hard to systemize all of that, right? So organize and structure that. Then step 2, once you have that, start doing it, which will help you develop the process that you then can automate if possible and makes sense, right? Because a lot of our business can be fully automated, right? And take over for you and do the mundane things. And then once you've done that, step 3 is delegate or outsource anything else so that you're no longer doing it.
Great. So organize, automate, and delegate. And again, great takeaway there. Any strategy you've ever heard works if you work it, right? Yeah. I started out, I had, no money, no real experience. I would just knock on doors, but I was a hustler. I'd go down to the courthouse. I'd pull pre-foreclosure lists. That was free. Then I'd go knock on doors. Very inefficient, but it got me to my first deal with no roadblocks. I didn't think too much. I was talking to people right away, making offers right away. So the quicker that you can get on the phone with a potential motivated seller, the better. And as a matter of fact, Robert, in the free software we're giving, we have access to all of those motivated sellers and their phone numbers. So if you're one of the lucky winners who visited exactlyhow.com, you can just start dialing right now. And we have some free scripts and some other great free gifts that are going to be given to you on that page as well. So this, like I said, I'm really excited about this call here. Let's talk about step 1, organizing. All right. So I'm a new investor. Maybe we talk about it from a new investor standpoint, which I think we kind of did, just picking that strategy and saying, let's go.
Yep. And
then someone who's up and running for a while that already has a bunch of plates spinning, but they feel anxiety every day because they wake up and they don't know what they need to do. Yeah. How would someone like that organize their business to be able to automate?
Yeah. So the new person, simple, just obviously pick one and then schedule it, right? Like if you work another job, that's fine. Pick an hour, right? A 30-minute time block, but pick a time block daily that you're going to consistently do that one thing. Knock on doors, in Ross's example. Cold call if you get the free software, or you get the funds to go buy it, right? You have the phone numbers in front of you, call people, text them, whatever works. Pick one, time block that activity daily, and go do it, right? So that's the new person. The guy juggling all the balls that started off in chaotic, but now he's got deals and he's got to figure out how to reorganize that. Number one, my assumption is that you probably don't know your KPIs, right? And so that's your key.
What's a KPI?
Right. That's your key performance indicators, so that you even know, most people, me included when I started, was, hey, my bank account has more money than I spent this month, so I'm doing well. I have no clue which of these 5 things is actually making me money. That's where KPIs come in. So if you're doing bandit signs and direct mail and cold calling and text messaging and online marketing, which one's actually making you money at the end of the day? KPIs tell you that. So your first step is you have the metrics in the data somehow, some way, whether it's on spreadsheets, whiteboards, yellow pads. Get as much of that figured out as you can. What did you spend on each thing, even if you have to write it on a piece of paper? And then where did the deals you got came from? Start there. And then based on, you'll clearly see which 1 or 2 channels is making you money. Organize down to focus on just those 1 or 2 channels, so that then you can systematize it and then think of others.
Yeah, that's really that's really powerful. And some KPIs that people might want to look at. Do you have any specific examples? Because basically, for the person who has a lot going on, it's I do a lot of like gardening, and sometimes you have to trim the tree a little bit, right? Like this way the flowers can flower or the fruit can grow. So what are some KPIs people should look at to figure out what to cut out of there, what limbs to cut off?
Yeah, so I'll give you the handful, and then I'll give you the highest level ones that you should be able to get, right? So you got in a perfect business, like the way we track it from an analytical daily in our KPI reports is cost per contact. So you know what it's costing you for every contact you get, cost per lead, property offer, appointment, and how much overall money you made, right? Broken down by each campaign or marketing channel that you're generating stuff from. And you do that by taking all the expenses you have, divided by how many people called you, how many people turned into leads, how many offers you made, and how many deals you got, right? On an even higher level and more important and simpler for you to probably figure out if you don't and haven't done any of those KPIs before, is simply at least know what is my cost for a deal and therefore my profit for a deal, telling me my return on investment. So how would you do that? Take all those, hey, I spent $500 on bandit signs, I spent $150 to put them out, and I got 1 deal out of all the effort. Cool. So you have, let's just round it up, you have $1,000 invested, and you ended up with 1 deal from all the calls you got from bandit signs. Even if you don't know all other KPIs, you know that it cost you $1,000 for a deal on bandit signs. Now, how much did you make off of that? 5,000, 10,000, right? Whatever that number is, you now have a return on investment. That's the highest number that you need to know. Deal, cost, and profit. Because someone could say, hey, I made $100,000 on this deal. This is the exact marketing channel that you should do. Why don't you jump in? Well, that's not enough data for me to know if I should jump into that marketing channel. What was your cost to get that deal, right? If it cost you 50 grand to make the 100, but I can do bandit signs at 1,000 for 10, well, I'm going to put all my money in bandit signs because it's going to cost me 10 to make the same 100, not 50 to make the same 100, right? And that's why at a highest level, those 2 metrics matter more than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. So we're starting to organize a little bit. How do we automate now that we say, okay, we're going to be doing this particular strategy? What are the steps in automating?
Yeah, so I'm going to take it from different levels. Obviously, I'm going to chime in and say Investor PO solves this problem for you. And it's what we built for ourselves. But you automate. The number one thing that I think that most real estate investors lack, and we did until we figured out how to automate this, is the follow-up, right? Following up on all those leads as you start to get more leads in, because most people think that when they approach real estate, like deals just happen immediately, and that's not the case. It's not the case in any sales cycle, right? Follow-up is where the majority of your deals and money is made. Majority of people lack at it. So either get a system like Investor PO that automatically follows up with these prospects until you do a deal with emails and texts and phone calls and letters, right? Or if you can't afford even a baseline system, then at a minimum, use Google Calendar and create follow-ups with the person's name and their phone number in your Google Calendar with a reminder, so that every day in that time block you have, do follow-ups, right? And that's the first step in automating it. That's the lowest level automation, is use a free tool like your Google Calendar on your phone, or, I don't have Apple, but I'm sure Apple has a calendar that has notifications too. Create those for every single person that you talk to, so that you're reminded when you should follow up with them. So that's the lowest level of automation. Next level is have that actually automated, so it's done for you without even thinking about it. That would be even better. But that's it. And anywhere else, you automate all your conversations with buyers, automate all your conversations with sellers, automate all your conversations with lenders, right? And that just gives you so much more time back in your life, because you don't have to personally do all that communication.
It's just making sure the most important process in this step right here in automating is making sure there's a good follow-up. The fortune is definitely in the follow-up. And on a previous podcast we were just on, a gentleman was saying the difference between the best salesperson and the worst salesperson in any organization is how fast they follow up. They're on the phone with someone, they say they want an offer, great, here it is. And they'll mail the offer as well. They'll email it, they'll mail it, they'll follow up like right away. Like when you have someone when you got a fish on the hook, you don't put the fishing rod down and go get a beer and then pull it up. The second that thing bites, you want to keep pulling the fish up. So that's really exciting. It might be easier said than done, but I think Robert did a good job of saying, hey, you can at least start here.
Yes.
And then you can go ahead and make an investment in different software like the stuff that your company offers. And I'll make sure to have links to his software right at exactlyhow.com. So you can go ahead and take a look at it for yourself. A lot of people at the office right here use his software for follow-up. So that could get very complex though, right? Someone might be saying, great, so I have some automation. I talk to someone, I press a button in some software or whatever. I have an email template that my assistant then sends them. What happens if they respond? Right? Is that where the mind-numbing stuff gets? And if this, then that?
Yeah, that's
come in?
That's the part that everyone wishes automation did for you and doesn't today. Artificial intelligence is real and it's coming, but I don't think it's at the power of making the offer to the seller for you or negotiating with the buyer for you. There is work involved, right? There's no way around physically doing some sort of work if you want to get paid. And I think it was best said in Law of Success, and that is, you are equally and proportionally paid for the service that you give to other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to serve them at some point.
And at the beginning of the show, you said the one thing you want to be doing is constantly making offers.
Yes.
And we talked about KPIs. So a good KPI to look at for your business, how many offers did I make today?
Yes.
0? Well, then you have 0 chance of making anything happen.
100% true.
You made 100 offers today? You probably did pretty good. And you talked about time blocking. And I saw a quote the other day that I really loved. It said, if it's not on my schedule, it doesn't exist. If you don't actually schedule it, it does not exist. Schedule it now. Do it now.
Yes.
So that's
someone else said, I can tell you the priorities of your life by looking at your calendar.
Yeah. Right now you see a bunch of podcasts on my calendar.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's your priority. It's your focus right now.
Yeah. Well, it's also great because a lot of my success and the success of our members come from connecting with other real estate investors, connecting with other successful people, connecting with people that have good follow-ups in place and seeing and learning from them. So I learned so much from doing these podcasts that it's I get to give a lot of value to you guys, and I get to learn a lot from spending time with individuals like Robert and everyone else we've had on our show. So talking about giving value, it's time to announce the winner of our $3,000 pre-MLS software that literally has every type of deal: vacants, probates, pre-foreclosures, and 20 more. I should probably have the list so I can read them all, but every type of motivated seller you'd ever want right there with their phone number and email address as well. So you can start smiling and dialing. And if you listen to one of our past podcasts, you learn that when you smile and you make phone calls, you close at a higher rate, right? Anyway, find our past podcast for that. Have everything right, ready to go. The winner of this week's software is Dean Michael. Dean, congratulations. Dean went to exactlyhow.com, threw his name in his hat, and now he has a $3,000 software, the pre-MLS, for free for a full year. So congratulations, Dean. All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about step number 3, to delegate. Take me through that.
Yeah, so delegate actually perfectly complements where we left off on that last question with what do you do when people respond to the automation, right?
Perfect.
Right. Well, if you suck at something, there's a lot of people that say work on your weaknesses, right? I disagree. I think hire your weaknesses and work on your strengths to make them even stronger, right? So that's delegate. And delegate is just as simple as whatever it is you're the worst at, that's the first thing you need to hire for, whether it's a VA, if a low-level person can take that over, or it's a company, like there's a great company called REI Vault, which has teams and processes in place for you, right? They handle the phone calls until the person's ready to literally let you in their house to make the offer.
I'll make sure that that link is on this episode of Exactly How, because we work with that company a whole lot.
Okay. Yeah. And I think they're great, right? If you don't know how to delegate to a firm that knows what they're doing. Or if you know how to do it, then of course you can hire somebody or bring on a friend. Not big on friends and family members necessarily, but if they're willing to put in the work like you and they're better at something than you need to delegate to someone else so that you don't have to do the things that you're no good at, right? And so that's delegate and it's going to be different for every person, right? So if you're really good at sales and you're really good on the phone, that's the last thing you should delegate. It's the thing that you should always be doing. And let someone else do all your paperwork, all your spreadsheets. Like that's me. I'm horrible with spreadsheets and paperwork. I don't do any of that. Yeah. I get all of that off and let someone else do all of that for me. And I'm really good on a phone. So I would spend all of my time on a phone until you've grown to a point where you can hand that off as well. And then, hire multiple people to take over for you and scale away.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And team building is always the make or break a lot of times. Once you start delegating, now you have a team. It's not just you anymore. So you have to understand how to grow a team, how to compensate team members, how to make sure they're excited about working with you. And if you suck at that, bring someone on to do all that.
Yes.
Right? It's
great coaches for that.
Yeah.
I've hired several in my business that they help tremendously.
One thing you said I just want to highlight is, don't do what you suck at. If you're, I'm 37 now. If I suck at something, I'm still going to suck at it for a little while. But there's some things I'm really, really good at. And I've been reading a lot of books there that basically say just focus on your strengths as much as possible. So that was definitely a good takeaway. So any other tips or tricks that you might want to let our listeners know when it comes to automating, delegating, anything that you've seen work with the people that use your software?
Yeah, it's the don't overthink it, right? Most people try to overthink it and think extra things. It's find something that simplifies your life and allow it to simplify it. And it all comes from, I said this on a previous podcast somewhere else too, right? But I don't remember where, but it was focus. Don't let things take you off your focus. And when you make a decision, fully commit. So what I mean by that is the thing I see a lot of people doing in our industry is chasing the next shiny object because the marketing of that object is really, really good. But then you get there and the grass isn't greener on the other side, right? And you're chasing and chasing and chasing and never once going all in and learning the one thing that you have. So learn and focus on your marketing channel. If you're going to choose a system like InvestorPO or some other software that automates your business for you, choose it, decide it, and go all in and learn everything about it so that it can simplify your life in any way that you get. Or if you're going to do whiteboards or yellow pads, go all in on that path, right? Until you can't anymore. And you'll know when that is. It'll tell you your activity and what you're behind on will tell you blatantly what you need next, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer in that.
What do you let me ask you a question here, Robert. What do you think your life would be like if you never found real estate investing?
Oh my God. I don't know. Cause honestly, I spent over a decade working for other people because I grew up in a household of, go to school, get a great job and an education and, do well in life in that way. So it took me over a decade of studying real estate to finally jump in. So, man, I would probably just work at some company, probably the last one that I left, and continue to do what they want, which was driving all over the place to work up the corporate ladder. Right. And I wouldn't be traveling or I'm in my upstairs bonus room office, right? Because I work from home. I wouldn't have none of this that I could envision without have found real estate.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people consider freedom of location to kind of be the new, a part of what financial freedom means.
Yes.
And in today's world, there's a lot of jobs you don't have to necessarily be there to work there, but being able to go wherever you want to go, live wherever you want to live, have the money to support the people that you love. Real estate definitely supports that, but you will find it to be a huge anchor around your around your neck if you don't have systems in place.
100%.
Because it becomes a beast that you have to feed. You have to train that beast from the get-go to operate a certain way, and that's by having good systems in place. So if you've been in real estate for a while, if you're not operating at the level that you want to be operating at, you might want to really look at your systems and your KPIs. And if you're sitting here saying, man, I don't even have any KPIs, well, I think we figured out what your next step is.
Yes. Yeah, I learned all that the hard way, right? I when I got into real estate and burned those boats, it wasn't as easy as I'm making it sound now. It wasn't living the lifestyle I wanted. It was working 15 to 20 hours a day that I never anticipated because I had none of that and had to figure it out along the way.
Yeah. I read this stat the other day that it says when most people retire, 2/3 of people that retire, they still don't have their house paid off. What type of retirement is that? Yeah. Right? They'll never have their house paid off. Their kids will inherit the debt because they didn't have a plan. They didn't have the opportunities to have huge lumps of cash coming in. That's what real estate does. You can build up residual income, and every now and then you got a $30, $40, $50, $60,000 check. I'm going to a closing in about a week now on a property I bought 5-6 years ago. And, now I'm walking away with a lot of extra money. I just forgot would even come. And that doesn't happen unless you plant those seeds. And real estate is just such a great place to be.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
So I'm going to go over a little rapid fire section of the show here. I'm just going to ask you some questions and just kind of the first thing that comes to your mind, and we'll have a little fun with it. You ready, Robert?
Yeah, sounds good. Purple. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, purple. Here you go. Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, how strict were your parents?
Ooh, like a 9.
Wow. That's
strict dad.
Get up early or stay up late?
Ooh, I've been both. I'm early now.
Yeah. How many hours of sleep do you get?
About 6.
So your favorite or most recent book that you read?
Law of Success.
I'll make sure to have a link to that book as well on the Exactly How podcast.
Original manuscript, Law of Success.
There you go. We'll have that there for you. If you could be any superhero other than Superman, because that's what everyone says, who would it be?
Batman, actually.
Batman. There you go. Something everyone should do less of.
Everyone should do less of. Worry.
Something everyone should do more of.
Focus.
Will people visit Mars in your lifetime?
I don't think so.
All right. Bitcoin, bang or bust?
Bust, in my opinion.
All right. Well, thanks so much. Thanks so much for jumping on the line with us. This is a really fun episode here. So if you're still listening, congratulations to you. You made it to the end of the show. Only 30% of podcasts or shows like this get listened to all the way through. Most people, they don't finish what they start. They're not focused. But if you're on this line, you stayed here because you found value. You know the information we share is high quality. We bring you the best people in the world really to help you accelerate your financial goals. And all we ask in return is that you like, you share, you tag this with someone who needs to see it. At least give us a little comment. Say, thanks, Ross. Thanks, Robert. Really appreciate your time on this. Your comments and your feedback and your interactions is what really drives us. So make sure to visit exactlyhow.com. Throw your name into the hat. Maybe you can win the software next time. You can also see a full show archive of everything we did. We did how to build a hotel yesterday. We did how to build skyscrapers, how to wholesale deals, how to do subject twos, how to call motivated sellers on the phone. Like everything you need can be found at exactlyhow.com. Take a look at that whole library of information for you there. Robert, thanks again for being on the call.
Thanks, Ross. I appreciate it.
All right, everyone. I'll see you inside Connected Investors. Bye-bye.
The Connected Investors app connects you with investors, notifies you of available properties, helps locate cash buyers and secure private funding to close deals. Set up in seconds to become a member of the Connected Investors social network. Now you can scroll through your main feed to find cash buyers, see investment properties not available to the general public, and network with investors by adding your own comments to a thread to keep the conversation going. The Control Center is your connection to add properties to sell, start new discussions, connect with local investors, and even find private funding. The Notifications tab will keep you alerted to new investment properties and offers. You'll also find new friend requests to connect directly with the community to build your network. From the property marketplace, you'll be able to find, favorite, and make offers on investment properties. Download Connected Investors today to find, figure, fund, and flip investment properties on the go.